In a land torn apart by hatred and division, where freedom was a distant dream, one man dared to sing of love, peace and unity.
All these years protecting you from all the wrongs you did, man.
His voice was more than music. It was a weapon. His lyrics carried hope when silence was the law. His name was Lucky Dube, a boy born into poverty in rural South Africa, abandoned by his father before birth, raised by a single mother who worked as a farm laborer just to keep food on the table. Life offered him no privileges, no comfort, but what it gave him was a gift that will one day echo across continents. From the small township of Emelo to global stages in New York, Paris, and Lagos, Lucky Dube rose to become Africa's greatest reggae ambassador. An artist who stood shoulder to shoulder with legends like Bob Marley and Peter Tosh. His music wasn't just for entertainment, it was a movement. He sang of freedom when his people were chained. He spoke of peace when the world around him was burning. But behind the fame and the bright lights was a man who carried scars, personal struggles, political threats, and an unshakable faith in humanity. And then, just when the world thought his message would live forever, tragedy struck in the most heartbreaking way. This is the story of Lucky Dube, the fearless voice of freedom, the king of African reggae, and the man who turned pain into powerful music that still inspires millions today. Lucky Dube was born on August 3, 1964, in Emelo, Mpumalanga, during the days of apartheid in South Africa. His mother, Sarah, named him Lucky because she had suffered multiple miscarriages before his birth and saw his survival as a blessing. Growing up in apartheid South Africa meant systemic racism, poverty, constant struggles. Lucky's father abandoned the family before he was born, and his mother worked as a domestic worker to provide for her children. As a child, Lucky helped his mother by working as a gardener and later as a security guard. But he never let his tough circumstance crush his dreams. He once said, "You are not poor because you were born in poverty. You are poor because you give up." In school, Lucky was drawn to music and joined the choir. He began writing songs inspired by the hardships he saw around him. At that time, reggae wasn't yet popular in South Africa. Lucky's first love was Zulu traditional style called Bakanga.
Met my producer, the guy who's my producer now, Richard Siluma. I met him, he was with a band called the Love Brothers. So they were playing Bakanga kind of music, which was very popular.
In the late 1970s, Lucky joined a band formed by his cousin, Richard Siluma, called the Love Brothers. They played Bakanga music, a blend of traditional Zulu, rhythm and modern sounds. Lucky was only 15 years old when he began performing. In the early 1980s, Lucky released 5 Bakanga albums, but he wasn't satisfied. He felt Bakanga didn't express the pain and struggles of his people under apartheid. Then came the turning point. He discovered reggae. Lucky became inspired by Bob Marley and Peter Tosh, artists who used music as a weapon against oppression. Lucky said, "When I listen to Bob Marley, I realize this music talks about what I see around me every day." Reggae was banned by South African government because it carried strong apartheid messages. Choosing reggae was risky. In 1984, Lucky Dube released his first reggae album, titled Rastas Never Die. It was revolutionary, the first major reggae album by a black South African artist, but it was banned because it criticized apartheid. The authorities saw his music as a threat. Lucky didn't stop. In 1985, he released Think About the Children, and this time, it exploded in popularity. The album went platinum in South Africa, making Lucky a household name. From then on, Lucky Dube became unstoppable. He dropped a string of albums like Slave in 1989, featuring title tracks that became a global hit, speaking against mental and economic slavery. Prisoner, the same in 1989, which talked about political prisoners and apartheid oppression. House of Exile in 1981, which earned him international fame and major awards. One of his famous quotes during this time was, "Reggae is the music of the oppressed. It talks about freedom, love, and humanity." In 1991, Lucky Dube achieved history by becoming the first African artist signed by Motown Records, a label that had previously signed legends like Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye. By the late 1990s, Lucky Dube had become a global superstar. He toured Europe, North America, the Caribbean, and Asia, performing to sold-out crowds. His music resonated with people across cultures because his message was universal: unity, love, and justice. Lucky recorded over 200 albums, 20 albums, and sold millions of copies worldwide. He sang in English, Zulu, and Afrikaans, making his music accessible to diverse audiences. One of his most powerful songs, Different Colors, One People, addressed racial harmony and equality. At his concerts, people of all races danced together, something unimaginable during apartheid. Lucky once said, "If music can't change the world, then nothing else can." And he lived by that philosophy. He won numerous awards including International Reggae and World Music Awards, and was honored in countries like Jamaica, Ghana, and the USA. Despite global fame, Lucky remained humble, continued to live in South Africa. He invested in farms and community projects and stayed connected to his roots despite all the wealth and fame that he had acquired. On October 18, 2007, tragedy struck. Lucky Dube was killed during a carjacking in Johannesburg after dropping off his children at a relative's house. The killers were later arrested and sentenced to life imprisonment, but the world was left heartbroken. Fans across the globe mourned. Tributes poured in from presidents, fellow musicians, and reggae lovers worldwide. Jamaican government even paid tribute, calling him one of the greatest sons of Africa. Lucky Dube's last words in an interview often reminded people to cherish life and spread love. But these were his words in that interview: "No matter what happens, don't let hate live in your heart." Even in death, Lucky Dube's voice continues to echo across the world. Songs like Remember Me, It's Not Easy, Back to My Roots, and Reggae is Strong are timeless classics played in every corner of Africa and beyond. Modern African reggae and dancehall artists like Stonebwoy, Battle Ranking, and Chronix credit Lucky Dube as an inspiration. He opened doors for African music on global stage. Today, his legacy is honored in concerts, documentaries like this one, and murals across the world. His music still heals broken hearts and inspires movement for justice. As Lucky once said, "My music is for people who believe in freedom, love, and unity," and that message is still internal.
The violence that is happening most of the time we are the victims. And at the end of the day, we keep blaming the government, but the government is not doing enough. And we keep blaming our political leaders that they are not doing enough. But the only thing is that we are the victims. We are the people that are involved, directly involved in this violence.
Lucky wasn't just a musician. He was a freedom fighter with a guitar, a man who used music as a weapon of peace. Though his life ended too soon, his music will never be silenced.